All right, so let me share it in one more place and then I'm not going to hold y'all. Let's see. Welcome, Valencia from the Bronx. Welcome, Valencia. Glad to have you on here this evening. Let's see who else we got in here. Don't be shy, y'all. We're about to be one big family. Welcome, Marianne from Indianapolis. Welcome. Great to have you on here. Let's see. Let me share. I know I keep saying it. Let me stop getting distracted and let me just go ahead and share. I'll just keep on talking. So let me go ahead and hush up for a second and share. Welcome, Rochelle from Virginia. Welcome. Great to have you on here tonight. All right. So let's share. All right. I am in a bunch of college groups and I want everybody to know that this is the place to be because we are about to just give you all type of information when it comes to how to successfully navigate through college. If you have kids who are in high school or who are going to college, if you are going to college yourself here soon, then this is going to be a session you absolutely 1000% do not want to miss. All right, we got more people. Welcome, Nitra. Welcome, Sandra. Welcome, Lisa from Detroit. We have Florida in the building. We got North Carolina in the building. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, let's make this nationwide. All right. All right, cool. So I think I've shared to all the groups I'm going to share to. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. So welcome everybody to tonight's conversation all about how to successfully navigate through college. So if you don't know me, if this is your first time seeing me, welcome. Hello. My name is Brianna Members, and I am the founder of SheEdits. As you can see behind me on my shirt, I'm repping tonight. So I'm the founder of SheEdits. We are a scholarship assistance firm. So we provide the full range of scholarship services to high school and college students and adult students and their families. So I was blessed to graduate debt-free. I received over $50,000 in grants and scholarships. Glory be to God. I'm a first-gen student. I had no idea about how to win scholarships. I didn't have a penny saved up for college. I did not know how I was going to get through college debt-free because I wasn't an amazing athlete. I wasn't a super brainiac, but I knew that we weren't taking out any loans. My mom was like, no, we're not doing that. So we had to figure out a way to graduate debt-free. And so that's what we did. My mom and I buckled down. We learned the scholarship process. We did our research. We talked to people. And eventually I was able to graduate debt-free. So I was super excited about that. I love teaching. I love education. So after I graduated, I taught in the classroom, but then I decided I wanted to come home and do SheEdits. So we, again, help people with everything that they need, A to Z, start to finish when it comes to the scholarship process. So far, we've been able to help students all over the country win nearly $2 million in grants and scholarships, financial aid, awards. It's just been amazing. Also, glory be to God. So I am just so excited and I love what I do. I love being able to teach. I love being able to help people go through college without any student loan debt. I'm getting to the point now where I am seeing students who are actually graduating. So they started working with me when they were in school, but now they're getting to the point where they're graduating. So now I can see the end of their success as far as scholarships. So it's just a really cool time. So if you want to learn about how to win scholarships and graduate debt free, that's not what we're going to be talking about tonight. Tonight, we're going to give the floor to Mrs. Regina Martin, and she's going to talk about how to successfully navigate through college. So I'll talk about how to pay for college, and she'll talk about how to get through everything else, right? The financial piece is just one component, but good news for you, even though that's not what we're going to be discussing tonight, I do have an upcoming scholarship workshop that I would love for everybody on here to join. So that will be on next Thursday, July 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That will be all about scholarships and graduating debt free. So you don't want to miss that. It's live, it's on Zoom. So yes, you can unmute. Yes, you can turn on your camera and ask questions. You'll get a worksheet that goes along with it. You'll get about an hour and a half of just packed, dense scholarship content. And it's in a really fun way. It's in an engaging way. And so you definitely don't want to miss that. So just go to SheEditsLLC.com to register. Spaces are limited, so go ahead and lock in your seat. You can go once again to SheEditsLLC.com or you can go to learn.sheeditsllc.com. So either one of those will take you there, all right? But I'm going to stop talking about me and SheEdits, and we're going to go ahead and dive into this interview. I'm so excited. Make sure you're typing your questions in the comments, because as our special guest is speaking, I will be moderating comments. So if you see me looking over, looking down, looking at my phone, it's not because I'm just ignoring the whole conversation. It's because I want to make sure that your questions get answered. So I know I'm streaming on YouTube and Facebook, so I'll be hopping back and forth. So put your questions in the chat, and we will make sure and make every attempt to get all the questions answered, all right? But let's dive into it. So let's talk and introduce our guest. So today I have Miss Regina Martin. She is the founder of Scholars with a Purpose, and I'm going to let her do her own introduction. So Regina, welcome. First of all, I'm going to shut up. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And before I introduce myself, I want to let you all know out there who is listening, I am also a part of SheEdits by way of being a student. Just because we are professionals does not mean that we stop learning. So Brianna and I connected last month, and we just started vibing back and forth. And, you know, she's going to be on my platform. I'm going to be on her platform. And then, you know, like I said, you know, I've been to the scholarship workshop. It is definitely a wealth of information. So definitely make sure you sign up for that. So a little bit about me. I am an educator. I am a higher education professional by day. Scholars with a Purpose LLC was formed in June of 2018. The reason that I formed it is basically because my children's friends were coming to me for advice. So what I was doing is I decided to monetize the knowledge that I have in the higher educational platform and try to do it under my own LLC. And I have been a higher education professional for 6 years. And I realized that I work with first-year students, and I realized that many students are coming to college not prepared. They go from high school and they go to college, and they think that it's an extension of high school, which it is not. The expectations are different. The requirements are different. You can't go into class saying, Professor Martin, I need to get an A. No, you need to work towards getting an A. I don't give out A's like I give out Starbursts. That's not how this works. So as an adjunct professor, I see it firsthand all the time, the importance of educating our students about the college experience before they get there. Because lots of times the marketing department does an amazing job with their advertising of how beautiful the college is and how the lawns look and how everybody is smiling on the brochures. But then when you get there, reality hits you and you realize, oh, this isn't what I thought. And just for those parents out there, I know it's going to be hard to let go. I know it's going to be hard to, not make sure that Johnny or Melissa gets to class on time, but they are full-fledged adults when they're on those campuses. Funny story, sometimes what ends up happening with some of the classes that I teach, students feel like, Professor Martin's not going to miss me. I'll see them in the courtyard and I'll be like, hey, how you doing? I'm sorry I missed you in class today. Make them feel this small, but letting them know that I'm invested in making sure that they're successful. And like I said, I'm really excited to be here tonight to talk about how to navigate through this college journey, because it is a journey.
Absolutely. And I can speak to the journey firsthand. Like I said, I went through some college prep programs when I was in high school, but when you're on campus, when you're a full-fledged adult, like you said, when you're by yourself and your parents aren't right behind your bag and checking up on you every day, it is a big culture shock. So I'm super excited to dig into how to help students, especially navigate through that first year and then make sure they're actually graduating and going all the way to year number 4 or beyond. So now that you've given us a little bit of an introduction of yourself, let's talk about some fundamentals that you've outlined for college success. So I know when we talked last week, you gave me 4 really good fundamentals that students really need to be aware of when it comes to making sure they're matriculating through college with ease. So the 4 fundamentals I know we talked about were relationships, time management, setting goals, and setting a plan of action. So we'll just go through one by one. And can you just give us a brief summary of why each fundamental is so important, and just talk about some tips to help get through each one? So we'll start with relationships. So can you speak to that for a minute?
I sure can. Building relationships when you're preparing for college is key, because it's not just about going on the campus. If you have found a campus or a school that you're interested in, it's important that the person that you need to talk to knows who you are. I like to tell people all the time, the admissions people are the ones that can help you get in. The financial aid people are the ones that can tell you where the money is. And the alumni can tell you about the experience. So being able to take a little piece of that and being able to incorporate yourself into that will help you to make an informed decision. Parents, lots of times your students are going to be going on college tours without you. I always encourage students to get business cards from the people that they meet, because you never know. You never know if that's the school that you want to go to, and you want to be able to build that relationship early and often. When you get that business card from the admissions office, you want to be able to know, okay, what is it that you're looking for in a student? Make sure that you have those questions. The relationships that I also want to talk about is the relationship between the student and the parent. Students need to be able to communicate with their parent and let them know what their goal is. Sometimes parents make this mistake. We want to live vicariously through our children, but we need to be able to have that honest and transparent conversation to find out what it is that they want to do. You may say, hey, guess what? I don't want to be an engineer. I want to be a chef. But you won't know those things unless you have a conversation. And the thing is, as a mother of 3 children, I totally understand what that's like. I have a daughter who is 26. She got her undergrad in media studies. She got her master's degree from Norfolk State University, HBCU, in public relations. And she was able to land a job at Radio 1. But it was a journey. But being able to have those conversations and build those relationships with your children, not being intrusive, but being informed. It's important for you to know what your student wants to do. You may want them to go to college, but they may want to do something totally different. Mm-hmm. And it really, if you hit those aha moments are significantly real. And my youngest son is in his last year of college. True story. He began majoring in sports journalism, but he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. So imagine my surprise when he came home and said, I'm changing my major in his junior year of college. So, I didn't quite know how to feel about that as a parent, because I'm saying, I had a plan. You were supposed to be done. But now you're telling me that you want to change your major. Long story short, he changed his major to English, and the reason why he changed it to English is because of the fact that he is a spoken word poet. So he performs around the tri-state, and he wants to be able to empower young adults and young people about the power of spoken word. That is the goal that he has. So parents, note to self, as long as your child has a plan, it's totally fine. And the relationship number 3 that I want to talk about is the student relationship with their guidance counselor. You need to make sure that your student is staying on top of things in regards to classes, and unapologetically, don't be afraid to be that parent to make sure that your student is on track to graduate. I did it. I lived through it. The guidance counselors didn't like me too much, but it was okay. They knew that I was there to advocate for my child, to make sure that they were what they needed to be.
I love that. So many good things. I'm just over here scribbling notes. So I'm trying to keep up because there's so many good things. So one thing I want to touch on, and I thought was so good, was having questions prepped beforehand for the admissions office, for the financial aid office, and then for alumni. So can you talk about just a few types of questions that students should have prepared when they go on college tours or when they are meeting with these different offices? And then can you also talk about where can students connect with alumni groups? Because we talk about alumni groups in our program at SheEdits in terms of scholarships, because we're like, students who have gone through that school know where the scholarships are oftentimes, and they've received the scholarships. So we also preach to connect with alumni. So I know that was 2 questions in one. So first question, can you talk about what types of questions they should prep for financial aid and admissions offices on tours? And then can you speak to where they can connect with alumni of their potential school or the school that they're enrolled at?
So let me start with financial aid. As I told you, the financial aid department, they know where the money is. I tell students all the time, shake a hand, make a friend, make a friend with somebody in financial aid, because there are people that do work study in financial aid. So you might have an English class with that person. They know where the scholarships are. Become friendly with them. Now, if you are a high school student trying to figure out how to do that, again, getting that business card, and the conversation that you should have with financial aid, first of all, is what type of scholarships do you offer? What type of GPA requirement is expected in order to qualify? And also, how much out of pocket are you going to be expected to come out of pocket with after they allocate the money? Because lots of times, and I'm sure Brianna can speak to this, we get excited that it got into school.
Yep.
But until that cost of attendance letter comes, which breaks down everything that you're going to be covered with, you need to make sure that you have that contact person to explain everything that they're offering. And let me just add a caveat to that. Student loans, and unsubsidized and subsidized loans, which I'm not going to get into tonight, they're going to be on that letter. Mm-hmm. You do not have to accept that. You can decline it. But please note, by declining it, you need to make sure that you come up with that money that you're declining. So for the financial aid piece, definitely make sure that you get that business card and find out about the GPA requirements, what type of scholarships they offer, what is the turnaround time, and what is the percentage of acceptance. Because lots of times you've got many students applying for the same scholarship, and it's okay, but it can be a little bit intimidating when you're going through it. So moving on to the admissions process, what type of student are you looking for? And when I say that, I mean, are there particular criteria that need to be met? Do I need to make sure that my transcript is reflective of the type of student that you're looking for? Because the unofficial transcript, or the transcript that the admissions office is going to get, there's a process that you have to go through. That transcript has to be in a sealed envelope, or it's not considered official. So in other words, sure, you can go to the guidance department and get a photocopy of it, but in order for you to go through the admissions process, you need to make sure that it's in a sealed envelope, because that's when it's considered official. They are looking at all grades from 9th grade to 12th grade. So that doesn't mean when you go to high school, 9th grade, you start loafing around and you don't pay attention to your studies. They're going to be looking for particular things. They're going to be looking for the all-around student. You might have a strong GPA or grade point average while you're in high school. However, they are looking for the all-around student, and you want to know what that looks like. Do you play a sport? Do you work a part-time job? Do you volunteer at your church's soup kitchen? It's not all about grades. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of students get caught up in that type of thing. And I live in a state where there's universities up and down the road. And unfortunately, lots of times people feel as though academics is all that it takes. But academics is not all that it takes. They want to know who you are in the classroom as well as out of the classroom. So in regards to student alumni, Facebook is your friend. You can always Google the name of the school and see if they have an alumni page, or you can even, when you go to the college tour, find out if the residential life or student life has a Facebook page that they can access, because everybody is doing things with social media. Yep. You can always go there and try to see if you can connect with somebody. Even if you go on the tour, because usually what happens is they have what they call orientation leaders. Those are students. So you can connect with them as well. So take advantages of the relationships that are around you while you're on the tour and while you are searching.
Oh, so good. Oh my gosh. We could talk for hours because you're just unpacking so many things, but I won't keep you here all night. But that was great. A couple things that I'll just agree to. So when it comes to the alumni organizations, it makes me think of a few months ago, one of our SheEdits students, we were in our monthly small group coaching session and she went to a particular school, and she was telling us in the small group session that she didn't have a laptop. So I think she may have been asking, are there any scholarships for laptops? And so what our coach Jessica did was reach out to the an alumni at the school that our student went to, and they were able to provide her with a laptop completely at no cost to her. And so absolutely taking advantage of those relationships. I mean, I talk about it in my program too, just how those relationships can also help you to know where the money is at, where to get those scholarships. There were different scholarships on campus that I would never have known about if I wasn't involved on campus. If I didn't talk to people, I made it a priority and a habit. Every time I started a new class, I would always sit in the second row of the class, and then I would always go and introduce myself to my professor on the first day of every class. Not because I was being a suck up, not because I was just trying to get in their good graces, but my scholarships were paying my tuition, and I wanted to make sure that I was taking advantage of everything that they were paying for. And I still talk to people on campus this day. I graduated 6 years ago from IUPUI, but I still have relationships with the some of the individuals on campus, and they're still helping to this day. So I agree 100% about those relationships.
Relation
And
currency, you have to know that,
good.
because the wealth of information that you can get from one person can sustain you. And you know, like the old saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed. So
I
you
know that's
gotta
right.
questions. I mean, that's just how it is.
That's so true. And I could just keep talking about that, but I won't. Come to the workshop next week and I'll keep talking about that. But that, yes, that's great. And then I wanted to, before I hit on the next point, I wanted to also amen to what you were saying about parents listening to your students. A lot of times, one of the number one question that I get is, or one of the number one struggles that I hear from parents is that their students aren't motivated to go through this process. They're just dragging their students along, kicking and screaming. They don't want to apply for scholarships. They don't want to go through the process. They're just following up behind them. Parents, put a amen in the chat if you're going through that, right? And one thing I've realized is because oftentimes parents and students aren't on the same page. The parents, like you said, have lofty dreams and goals for their kids, which is, I mean, you're a parent. Of course, you're going to have those things. But a lot of the times, the students may not want to go to school. They might not be passionate about their major. They might have other dreams for their lives, or they just don't know what they want to do at 17, 18 years old. And that's okay. A lot of students don't have that figured out. And so they're just going through college because they feel like they have to, but they're not going to be motivated. And so having those honest conversations with your kids and then being willing to hear their answers is just going to really help, even if it's not the answer that you want. So that was just relationships, y'all. We about to keep on going, all right? So keep dropping. I see so many comments. So keep dropping your comments and questions. I'll definitely make sure to read through some of them. But can you talk about the second fundamental, which is time management? Oh, please speak on
So
that time management.
here is the bone of contention to everybody. When I work with students, the first thing that they say is, Miss, how do I manage my time? And I've worked with high school students as well as first year college students. And one of the things that I usually say is invest in a planner. You don't have to get some expensive planner. You can go to Walgreens, CVS, go, yep. And I've got one right here too. I've got my little planner right here. I live by it because here, having a planner keeps you accountable. And lots of times being able to jot down what you need to accomplish in the course of a day or a week is amazing. The sense of accomplishment that you feel. Time management requires you to minimize the distractions. Don't be trying to play your video game when you're trying to write a history paper. Don't be trying to talk to your phone. Don't be trying to go on Insta. That's not time management, and that's not effective. You can't get mad at the teacher because she gives you a low grade for poor work, because you didn't put your effort into it because you were distracted. Another way that you can manage your time is to get a whiteboard. Getting a whiteboard and posting it in the central part of your house, whether it be in your kitchen, whether it be in your bedroom, on the wall, and jotting down what you have to accomplish for the week. Now, many parents on the line may have students who have multiple things going on. They may play a sport. Incorporate that schedule with the sport as well as their academics. Because the thing is, I substitute taught in a charter school. And once people found out that I was a professor part-time, they were like coming at me, asking me all these questions. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? I said, there's two things I want to leave with you. They need to learn how to manage their time, and they also need to learn how to advocate for themselves. If your student is in trouble in any capacity, you need to be able to, if they're struggling with the time management, invest in a tutor. I know that a lot of people are not sure about that whole thing, but trust me, having another person be that voice for your child and help them navigate. Sometimes we as parents have to remove ourselves from the equation because, you know, we're like negative, we're like in their ear, like, what, did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? Did you? I'm telling you, the stories I'm sharing, I've lived them, I've done them. So I am not trying to act like I have been the perfect parent because I was not. However, get that planner. Start planning Sunday night when you're just sitting up there, just trying to figure out what you're going to do. Plan out your week. If you know that you have a history paper due on Friday, put it in the planner, or put it on the blackboard. And there's time management apps that students can download for free that they can put on their phone. Another way to keep them accountable is setting a timer. I am a strong believer that trying to do stuff 2, 3, 4 hours is not effective because you're not putting forth your best work. Work in 1.5 hour increments. Work for 1 hour, an hour and a half, take a break, take a shower, eat some dinner, then come back to your work. You're more refreshed, you're more focused. If you're trying to knock out a 5-page double space APA history paper and you're tired, you're not going to be put forward your best work. And most importantly, you're going to be falling asleep.
True.
Trying to get it done. So the best time management advice, as I mentioned, limit the distractions, limit the amount of time and break your time up so that you're not doing 3 or 4 or 5 hours worth of work. Make sure that you are staying on point and trying to organize your time at the beginning of at the top of the week, which I'd like to say is Sunday. If you know that you've got stuff going on, put it in the planner. And as you go along, just check it off and just keep going.
I love my planner so much. I get excited every year buying a new planner.
I just bought my new one. And it's like, I have planners that I haven't gotten rid of yet because my husband doesn't like that because he says I don't need to hold on to it, but that's another story.
My husband too.
However, it's important to stay on track with your stuff because it's easy to get distracted. And another thing, this is something that students may not like, but this is something that we had to start doing with our kids, especially when they were in middle school. Have them do their homework in a central place, which means they can't have TVs. They can't have their phones. They have to keep their phones away from them. And that way you can monitor what they're doing and they'll stay more alert. If they're at the kitchen table doing their homework as opposed to being in their bedroom, 9 times out of 10, if they're in their bedroom, they got their headphones on. Oh, Mom, I'm music. Yeah, no.
And it saves you time doing it in a central place because you have less distractions. So then they're just knocking it out even more quickly with more efficiency. I love that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you were about to say something. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. That's it. That's all I got as far as time management.
Yeah, I like I said, I love my planner. I have so many things going on, just my personal life, my church life, SheEdits, I have kids, I'm married, like I have like 10 million things going on. And so you're right, sometimes it can seem overwhelming, all of the tasks that you have to do, but writing it out and splitting it up over 5, 6, 7 days, it just makes it so much easier. Like I went through that earlier this week. I'm like, man, I have like a million things to do. So I just stopped. I just wrote it all out in my planner, split it up by the things I need to get done. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it just helps immensely. So I love that. All right, so we talked about relationships, time management, setting goals. Can you speak on that?
So setting a goal about where you see yourself, a lot of people don't understand the power behind that. So in other words, you can set a small goal, which is something that's obtainable by way of, okay, I'm going to make sure that I get all my work caught up for the market period. Or I need to reach out for extra help for an essay that I need to do for my English class. So setting obtainable goals for being a high school student is one thing. When you're going to college, the grading system and the semester system are totally different from the marking periods. So it may take you a marking period to catch up or turn your grade around, but in college, it will take you an entire semester, which is the equivalent to 16 weeks. So you have to be able to pace yourself and understand, and I cannot emphasize this enough. If you need help, do not wait until you are failing to ask for help. I always say the first 30 days of a marking period or semester is always very telling, because if you are struggling within that first 30 days, you need to be proactive, because the tutor is not going to seek you out. The teacher is not going to seek you out. The advocacy that's where the advocacy comes in. You need to be able to do it and do it well so that you're not beating yourself out. And self-care is something that is so, so important, especially as a student. The expectations are monumental when it comes to preparing for college. Sometimes you just have to take that time, take a breath, and just give yourself some self-care, because you stress yourself out too much. What ends up happening, it doesn't end well. And the thing that you're trying to accomplish as a parent to push your student forward will end up pushing them backwards.
Absolutely. Don't wait to ask for help. I'm just going to parrot what you just said. Don't wait. And I myself spent so much time in the tutoring center on campus. Again, I'm using up all my resources that I have on campus. I'm going to be there. I'm going to use the resources. And so I spent so much time in the tutoring center, especially for math. Math was never my strong suit, and I knew that. And so I found out when the hours were. I found out where on campus they did tutoring, and I would haul myself there every week, to get that help. And I didn't wait till the end of the semester, because I knew myself. So absolutely making sure to do that and utilize those resources. And then finally, that last pillar, and you covered so many of the other questions, so we'll kind of skip around, but that last pillar of setting a plan of action, can you speak on that a little bit?
So setting a plan of action speaks to what do you want to do and how do you want to achieve it? So if your student is a sophomore, where do you see yourself in the upcoming junior year? When you are a junior, where do you see yourself in the senior year? College Board has a great resource that they have that breaks things down according to a timeline that students should follow. So collegeboard.org is a great resource. Parents,
I'll drop that in the chat while you're talking.
Collegeboard.org is an opportunity for you to have your student to have a resource, but also you can sign up as a parent too, because there's a lot of great parental tools in there that can help you in setting timelines and things like that, because the habits that you form now with this is going to follow you always. Because here's the thing, deadlines are there for a reason. When your student decides that they want to go to college, there are deadlines of when their applications have to be in. They don't get to play let's make a deal when it comes to that. Those deadlines are hard set. And if you miss them, I don't know what more I can say on that, but just knowing that if you set those goals, if you start doing it by way of setting goals as a high school student and where you see your student or where your student sees themselves, again, this goes back to the conversation, being able to see what they want. I cannot emphasize this enough, parents. This is your student's journey. It is not yours. You can aspire for them to do things, but they're the ones that are going to have to take a walk on that campus. They're the ones that are going to have to get through those courses. They're the ones that are going to have to face a professor if they're late for class or their teachers. When you begin this journey, please keep that in the forefront of your mind. Don't set yourself up for disappointment, and realize that the journey is your students. You are just there to support, not tell them that you are a legacy child and you're going to be this. Don't do that, because that's the quickest way to fracture your relationship.
I'm going to skip down a few questions because I think what you just said ties perfectly into this one. No, seriously, I'm just saying what you just said, it ties perfectly into this question. So I'm going to go ahead and ask it now. So how do parents and caregivers or grandparents find that balance between allowing their students to take the lead in their college journeys while also supporting them as, you know, people who have more wisdom and more experience? Because I think a lot of parents are tempted to still take the lead in their child's college journeys, because they're like, okay, you're only like 17, 18, 19. Like, I have way more life experience than you, so let me just kind of take the lead. But then on the other hand, you know, they want them to be adults, they want them to be independent. So how do parents find that balance, and what can they and do you recommend that they should be doing and maybe should step back on a little bit?
So I think the conversation needs to be a two-way street. And it doesn't need to be you talking at your student or them talking at you. You find a common denominator. So let's say, for example, your student has decided that they want to do films, and you take an opportunity, like you're watching a movie or something, and you can take that teachable moment and say, so in this film, what do you see yourself doing if this was a film that you did? So it doesn't have to be a structured conversation where it has to be serious all the time. You want to make sure that you're tapping into what it is that they really, really want. Because sometimes we are so blinded sometimes that you find out in the most unpeculiar way that what you think your student wants is not what they want. So you need to make sure that your conversations are authentic. Go on a college visit with your student and experience it with them, but don't be in the driver's seat, be in the passenger.
I like that.
Let them navigate. Let them ask the questions. You're just along for the ride, because lots of times it's okay to ask questions as parents. I'm not saying that you have to be quiet, but you want to see, by you being silent, you're going to see just how far your student is with the process and what they know and what they don't know, based off of you going on a college visit. There are college fairs that take place every year. Sometimes most of them are, based on geographical areas. Take an opportunity to go to a college fair or a college visit with them and just sit back and see how much they're taking in, because your child. If your child is not really feeling it, you're going to know. So you don't want to be like, so what do you think? What do you think? Let them enjoy, let them experience it. You're there, you're just there for the ride. And then you go out for a nice meal and just say, hey, so what did you think about the college tour? What were your thoughts? And let the conversation be authentic and not be forced. That's how you broker that. I know with, again, my kids, I had to learn to lean into the conversation and let them do the talking instead of me. Again, like I said, the things that I'm sharing with you, it's a journey that I have been on. Your children appreciate the support, but they also want to be able to know that they can empower themselves without you empowering it for them. They need to feel like they are in control. So, but to your point, if you see that your student is a little lackadaisy about stuff, then you want to be able to find out whether college is for them, because they're letting you know in subtle ways, this is what you want. I just want to get a job at the local factory, or I just want to go in the military, and there's nothing wrong with those things, but you don't want them to feel compelled to do it. One of the things that we told our kids is, you finish what you start. And those words came back to haunt us sometimes, because it's like, My daughter's undergrad experience was not everything that she thought. Now, she loved the school when she went to visit it, and she saw herself there. It was 2 hours away, so she was close enough, but yet far enough away. But she shared it with us after she graduated. I really wanted to transfer out. When she went to graduate school, the HBCU experience, I'm so glad she did it. She made the decision to go to HBCU, get her master's degree, do the things that she needed to do. And it made me feel good because I had nothing to do with it. She did everything on her own. So, you know, we can crack the whip when we need to, but sometimes you crack that whip too hard, that whip ricochets and hits you. So you know,
That's true. I love that. And you I love how you spoke to parents who are going through this process with their high school children, just to sit back and just see if this is something they want to do. Can you also speak to parents who already have students in college? So let's just say their students are freshmen, sophomore, juniors. The parents who have students who are doing successful, it's probably easier for them to step back. But what should parents do if they see their kids are just struggling? How involved should they be if their current undergrad student is struggling with grades or their social life or just anything? Let's just talk about academically. What should we do?
I'm going to introduce a term that parents need to be very familiar with. It's a document called the FERPA, and it's spelled FERPA. That FERPA document is a document that your student, upon being accepted to school, will be required to sign. Now, what this does is it allows you as a parent to be able to be privy to your students' grades and or their financial packages and stuff. I strongly encourage you to have a conversation about what you want, what the student wants you to be privy to. If your student does not want you to be a helicopter mom, because you can't go rolling up on campus talking to the professor, why is my son getting a D in your class? You can't do that. You can't call the admissions office or the advising office and say, how's my son doing? The FERPA document is a legal document that is binding. The advisor cannot divulge any information about your student's academic progress unless your student has signed the FERPA giving permission for you to know about it. A lot of parents make this mistake, and I encourage you to have it's a two-way conversation. You're not going to get the document and say, okay, where do I sign? No, because again, I circle back to my original statement. They are young adults. So when it comes to, if you know that your child is struggling, have access to the grading, because if you're able to track what they're doing, then what you can do is you can try to see if you can navigate having a conversation with the advisor and saying, listen, has a learning disability. They don't test well. They may need some extra supports. Only if that document is signed. If the advisor sees that there's no documentation to say that they can discuss this with you, they will not and cannot, or they will lose their job. Had a situation where, and this is again a true story, had a college student of mine who I was reaching out to. They weren't doing well. So they caught a case with me because they got academically dismissed because of the fact that they weren't doing well. Okay. So they decided to bring their mama and their auntie and their sister to the school, and they thought they was going to roll up in there and try to shake
My
some
mommy,
stuff.
auntie, and a sister, all of them.
Oh yeah, they were circling the table. Now, mind you, when they saw me walk in the room, he's like, yeah, you had me academically dismissed. You never called me. So the person to my right, who was the advisor, she said, oh no. She said, we have records of every time that Miss Martin called you. We have everything here. And so then he said, well, I turned in stuff. I know I did. In I bring in my colleague, the dean of the school. He has a conversation. Didn't turn in a thing. Parents felt like, boy, when we get you home, we're going to have a whole conversation. Note to self, parents, when you go to parent-teacher conferences for high school, this is what I used to do. And again, these are just my antidotes. You don't have to do it. I used to tell my kids all the time, is there anything that I need to know before I get there? Because if the conversation between the school and you don't line up, we're going to have some problems. So the confessional begins. Well, this is what happened. And da, da, da. So if you train up that child to be able to be transparent with you, you know what? You can't blame the science teacher for failing you if you're not turning in the work. So I say that all to say, as a college student, they think that they're trying to pull something over on you, and they have the characteristics where they feel like they can bring the parents in and the parents can shake things up. Before that conversation was over, that mother and that sister and that auntie, they shook my hand. They said, "Thank you so much." She said, "You did your job." So it's not about shaming the child. It's about using it as a teachable moment. Young man, you knew that you didn't do the work. So you thought that you were going to come in here 3 people deep trying to intimidate me, but we have documentation to show that we've been calling you, we've been trying to support you. So it's all about knowing how to stay in your lane, especially with college students who think that they can bring parents in like they used to. Because come on, let's be honest, parents. Were you that parent that used to roll up in there with the raincoat with the one button on it because you were mad because Johnny came home and told you that a teacher made you mad and you were getting ready to give them the business and find out that it was not what was presented to you in the first place? I think we are all guilty of that, I hand included. So it's important that that FERPA document is a conversation. Find out what it is that your student wants you to have access to. If you're going to be helping to process the scholarships that Brianna's going to help you get, then you want to be able to have access to the financial portal to see what their expectation is. So it's important to know about that document, because a lot of parents get shook when they see it, because they're like, what is this? And why do I have to sign it? And how come he gets to know? Educate yourself. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've seen that so many times, because I'm in a bunch of college groups, and I'll see that parents are so frustrated because they know their kid is struggling, but because of that document, they can't have access to anything, or they're just surprised and shocked when students have all of this debt or just all of these things, but they're just clueless. So it's so important to read everything and just make sure you're paying attention before you sign any documents. Don't sign any documents. Just just be involved, especially when it comes to signing things, for sure. I love that. So let's kind of take a step back and talk about parents who are just entering this process. So parents who maybe have freshmen or sophomores in high school, or maybe even middle school parents. I have a lot of parents who ask questions about what they should be doing in middle school. So I know one of the biggest words I hear is I'm overwhelmed. And a lot of parents of seniors might be overwhelmed too. So we'll just talk about overwhelmed parents in general. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. They don't know if they should schedule a tour, if they should start looking for scholarships, if they should start just submitting their transcript to school. Like, they don't know what to do. What's the best first place to start when it comes to helping your child through the college enrollment and admissions process?
I'm going to say, again, going back to understanding what they want to do. There is a platform. It is a career platform. And it escapes me right now, but I'm going to give it to you when it comes.
That's fine.
Have your student to take that questionnaire. Based off of the answers that they provide, we'll see where they're a good fit on a professional scale. They may answer the questions and they may find that culinary is something that they want to do. or they might answer the questions and they might want to do it. It turns out that they're good in the medical field, or they find out that they're good at management. So taking little steps like that to kind of gauge their interest in finding out what it is that they want to do. There's all types of programs that are offered where students can actually get a jump start, especially as early as in 9th grade. They can learn how to do medical coding. There are programs that are out there that that can teach, fundamental things. Just find out in your local educational platform, wherever you live, go through the, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations that do programs. Like you mentioned, the college prep program. I encourage you to enroll your child in a college prep program. It is so important. I also would say that with, a first-year student, make sure that you, again, give them a chance to just kind of decompress from school for a minute before you hit them in the summertime. But just kind of like, ease into the conversation for the early part. When it comes to sophomore and junior, I always say that it's good to be preparing for your upcoming year while you're in your current year. So if you're a sophomore, you need to be thinking of, the sophomore needs to be thinking about, okay, what classes do I need to be taking as a junior? What type of things can I do to boost my GPA or boost my transcript? Another thing you could do in the summertime, there's lots of colleges and universities that have summer programs where you can actually be on campus and be a guest there for the weekend. Your student can stay overnight. They'll have you actually sit into a mock classroom. So they actually have the feel of being a college student to see, I'm kind of liking this field, because college is not all about parties, contrary to what people may think. The other aspect, another thing you can do is there are schools that are now doing what they call high school academies, which means that a school is partnered with a local university that offers the ability for students to take college courses for credit. They can take very fundamental courses and earn credit, but it gives them a bird's eye view of what the college rigor is like while they're in high school. My younger son actually did that. He was in high school and he took college courses while he was in high school. And ironically enough, the school that he was going to is the school where I work. They did not offer what he wanted as far as a degree program. So he went to his director and he said, hey, this isn't the school for me. They don't offer what I'm looking for. And my son identified the school that he wanted to go to. So the director was like, well, you probably should stick with it because they may not take your credits, which is true. Again, another story for another day. But what happened was my son was able to take those 21 credits and apply for the school of his choice. And they took all 21 credits. So he entered the freshman year with 21 credits. You need 60 credits to transition from freshman to sophomore. So I say that to say, have them take a college course. If a community college is offering a college course for free, look into that if finances are a thing. But there's a lot of high schools now that have realized the currency of partnering with the local university to offer college courses for credit while the students are in high school, because it kind of gives you a bird's eye view as to whether or not college is a good fit for your child because of the expectation. Because not only are they balancing high school, but they're also balancing a college course, or they're playing a sport, or they're working a part-time job. So this is what I was talking about before about the all-around student. That's very attractive to universities and colleges when you're applying. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. Because I know, like I said, so many parents are just overwhelmed. Maybe they didn't go to college, or maybe college for them was a while ago. And so many things have changed. I mean, so many things have changed in the last 6 years for me. So I know for parents of high school students, things may have definitely changed. And we are in that same boat. I'm a first gen student. Neither one of my parents graduated from college. My parents were very supportive of my dreams and also my sister's dreams. She decided to go the cosmetology trade school route. I decided to go the college route. And going back to what you were talking about earlier, they were just very open and honest and supportive of what we wanted to do. So even though college wasn't her thing, they completely supported her in that. And then with me, we didn't know where to start, right? And so those college prep programs, my mom found an awesome program in Indianapolis, Center for Leadership Development. And I was always at CLD classes from the time I was in 8th grade all the way through to senior year. And it's a very low cost program. And she got just so much information. Like you said, a lot of the community colleges will partner with high schools and have those programs. There are so many summer camps and summer bridge programs and so many opportunities out there where you can learn from the experts. If you don't know how to do something, that's okay. None of us know everything. And so I am a huge advocate. If I don't know, I will pay somebody else to teach me, or I will pay somebody else to do it for me. That is me all day long. I'm like, I have too many other things. I'm just gonna stay in my lane, and I'll pay somebody. I'm telling you, I'll pay somebody in a heartbeat to teach me something or do something I don't want to do. And so I'm just encouraging parents, take that same route. There are so many people who are out there who want to help, who have gone through the process, who know, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed if you don't know how to get through get your child through or to college. That's okay. There are so many other things you're an expert in. But if you don't know, there's nothing wrong with that. Expose your kids to things. My mom signed us up for everything, and that's a good thing. Like, my sister and I were involved in like 10 million things, a lot of them free things, but we were super involved, and that really helped us to hone in on what we wanted to do as careers. So when I decided I wanted to be a journalist, she signed me up for this little news program through our local newspaper. When I decided I wanted to be a vet, she let me go shadow at a vet's office. When I decided I want to be a teacher, which that finally stuck, her and my dad would drop me off to my old elementary school, and I would volunteer in the kindergarten classroom twice a week. And so expose your kids. And maybe you don't have the finances to put them into some high level, expensive program. There's no problem with that. There's so many other resources out there.
You definitely touched on some really great stuff, because the thing is, like I said, a lot of these programs have a parental arm to it, because they understand that, especially the college prep programs. So college prep programs have parent workshops that they offer, because they know that the struggle is out there. They want to be that extra support. So definitely, all you have to do is Google summer high school programs.
Yep.
And you should be able to find a plethora of information based off of where you live.
Absolutely. So we have time for a couple more questions from me, and then I'll get to some audience questions. We have so many questions. I wish I could answer them all, but we're going to give you Regina's contact information so you can send all the questions her way. Regina, you're about to be flooded because they are hot in the comments tonight. But I'm not going to keep you here till 10 p.m. So I'll ask you a couple more, and then we'll read off a few key questions. But the last couple questions I have for you are let's see. Okay, so let's get to this one. So what are some of the most helpful resources you recommend for college success? And then we'll talk about the free ebook that you have. But outside of your ebook, what are some other free resources that you recommend parents should take advantage of? Or not even free resources, but your favorite resources?
I think for me, I think that going to anytime that there's an opportunity for a parent to go to a college fair or a college visit, the resources there, it's all in one room. I heard you mention that somebody from New York is on the line. Every year they have, the Urban League has a college fair in New York, Riverside Drive, every single year. And the interesting part about that platform is that if your child is a rising junior or a rising senior, they take their SAT scores and their unofficial transcripts, and they can get accepted to the school on the spot. That is a resource that does not cost a thing. Yep. You have colleges from all over the United States, and you can go through the application process. I'm sure that there are many that are similar to that one, but that one particularly comes to mind for me because of the fact that I've been there. I went there with my son and my daughter, and my daughter was accepted to like 6 schools. My son was accepted to like 5. I mean, they give you the official acceptance letter, like right there.
Yep, they will. I second
They'll
that.
give right on the spot. And
Yep.
that's another way for you to build relationships, parents. Go to those college fairs, get those cards, get those brochures, because the questions that you may have may not come right away. You know, you'll say, shoot, I meant to ask them. Get that business card and call them. Hey, I was at the college fair experience in New York the other day. You gave me your card and I had a question for you, but now I didn't remember it at the time, but I'd like to know if you could answer it for me now. Like I said, it's important for them to know you and know who you are, know who your
Yep.
student is. But again, keep in mind, it is your student's journey, not yours.
Yes, I second college fairs and all day long. You can get there's so many resources, so many people you can meet. I've done a lot of them with SheEdits, and I just have made relationships myself just with different people at colleges and organizations and college prep programs. They're free most of the time. They're all over in every state. I mean, I've done a virtual one, I've done in-person ones. Just go to them, keep their business cards, make those relationships. The last follow-up question I'll ask about the college resource fair. So as parents are gathering all this information, as students are gathering all this information, what's the best way that you found to stay organized? Like, what's your favorite way to stay organized with all of this paperwork, all these emails and letters and business cards and everything?
They don't. We do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it any other way, because what ends up happening now, you may have a student who is organized and they are on it and they have their different things. One of the things that I encourage parents to do and students specifically is to create a spreadsheet of the schools that they're interested in and rate them. Talk about, have that Excel spreadsheet outlining what it is that the school stuck out about that school. What the cost of attendance is, who the admissions person is, who's the have a whole spreadsheet so that you can look at it at a glance, because you know how many trees they that they have to kill in order for you to get those brochures. So take the information and put it together on a spreadsheet. And that way you can have one resource. I mean, you can keep a couple of brochures here and there if you'd like, but doing the spreadsheet is the best way. That's what I used to do with my kids, because by the time you see all those brochures, it's like, you're not even going here. Why is this brochure still here? So
yeah. Being your kid's personal secretary. I've heard that term so many times. It's okay.
Like I said, my kids graduated, I felt like I should have been on the stage with them. I work, honey. I did the work.
Yes, I know. And then those college resource fairs too. I'll say one more thing about scholarships. They give out scholarships on the spot. They'll give out college acceptances and scholarships on the spot. Take advantage. Go. All they usually want is just your transcript. Maybe bring your official ID. Let them know who you are just so they can verify, right? But go. All right. So let's talk about go ahead.
Also find out if the school is SAT or test optional. A lot of schools are going in that direction now, because they're starting to realize that a person may not test well, but that does not take away from their academic ability. And I've been saying it for years. Finally, someone listened, because there's a lot of elite colleges that are doing away with SATs and stuff like that. Now, if your students' grades are a little in the middle, and they score well on the SATs, take them, because that will help you to leverage why your student should be accepted to that school.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Can you talk about your ebook? And while you're talking, I'm going to drop the link on YouTube and Facebook. So your ebook is the 7 Steps to College Success, or to Student Success. So talk about that a little bit. Yep. Thank you. And I'll drop the link in the chat for everybody.
Okay, so I came up with that ebook for a lot of reasons. Number one, sometimes going to Barnes and Nobles just isn't it. You know, you want to be able to have something at your fingertips that you can access. Downloading the ebook talks about the relationships, what their roles are, and how you can maximize those relationships and how your student can be successful in the process of that. It's a quick read. It is a downloadable ebook. When you go to scholarswithapurpose.org, which is my website, there is a tab at the very top that says download now for your free ebook, and you can download the material and get that information right at your fingertips. I thought it was important to create that because of the fact that a lot of people don't know what student success looks like. And that's one of the reasons why I created the ebook, because we like to emphasize, okay, you gotta be successful, but what does that look like? That looks like different in so many different ways to so many different people. And we have to be very mindful of that because everyone learns differently, everyone processes things differently. So that's pretty much where that is. And if you want to get in touch with me for a free consultation, you can actually go to the website, scholarswithapurpose.org. There's a tab that says contact me, and you put your information in there. I will get it. You can also reach out to me via email at scholarswithapurpose@gmail.com, and just tell me who you are, tell me how you know me, and then we can have a conversation. I think that starting the process, you know, as freshmen, there's nothing wrong with piquing interest with middle school and freshmen, but please keep in mind as freshman students, they're still trying to figure high school out. So you don't want to hit them too hard, but at the same time, you know your student better than anyone. So you know what they can take and what they can't. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute because I was click clacking and typing. So
before I forget, that career assessment thing that I was talking about, I just put down this email address. It is www.1tonline, like online, .org.
I see it right here.
So yeah, so basically they can take that assessment. You can have your student take it and see what their good fit is. I know I'm looking dark. Maybe I should turn on the light. No?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can turn on the light. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in the chat while you're turning on the light. Let's see. We'll drop this in the chat. So while she's turning on the light, everybody, I dropped a link to her website, scholarswithapurpose.org. I've dropped the link to her ebook. Make sure to download that. And I've also dropped the link to the onetonline.org, and I'm on the website now, and it's awesome. I've never seen this, but it looks amazing. So definitely make sure your child takes those assessments to see what would be a good fit for them. I love that. And then can you tell a little bit about what services you provide? You provided so much good information, so I'm sure people want to know what exactly you can do and how you can help them. And who do you work with? Just high school students, undergrad students, parents? Just talk a little bit about your services so people can know what to expect when they reach out to you.
So I work with high school students and their parents right now. I actually have an online course called Student Success 101. And what that does is it talks about the 4 fundamentals that we talked about today. Yes, I think it's important to give information in chunks. You know, sometimes when you go on webinars and trainings and stuff like that, and you're getting a plethora of information, it becomes overwhelming. Right. So I offer a series of mini courses. So the Student Success 101 is for the students, talking about the fundamentals about being a successful student. I also have a parental toolkit that talks about anything like show me the money, tutor or not to tutor, you know, talking about what if my student is not a senior yet, what do I do? So I offer this online course, and you know, I have the option to be able to do it in person. I do one-on-one coaching with students and parents, where I can do it virtually. I don't have to be living in your state in order to service you. I also have the ability to be able to come to a community and do a presentation and speak to the parents about the college experience based off of a presentation. So I do quite a few things in addition to my 9-to-5 job. And yes, I do work with first year students. So if you have a student who is still trying to figure it out and they want some one-on-one coaching, I'll be more than happy to work with them. I'm in the process of finalizing a first year course, online course as well. The online course is self-paced. There is no deadline. You don't have to rush through it. You have the option of doing just the course standalone, or you have the option of doing a course and having a one-on-one coaching at the same time.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. So I'm looking at all these questions. I'm just going to pick like a couple of them. But while I'm navigating through these questions on here, so many good ones. You all have her information. So again, I dropped all the links in the chat. So scholarswithapurpose.org. Make sure to contact her, y'all. I always say I don't say it, the word says it. Faith without works is dead, okay? So it's great that you're on here. It's great that you're soaking up all this information, but go to the experts. She knows what she's doing. She works in higher ed. She has Scholars with a Purpose. She's had kids who have successfully gone through and are going through the college process, and she's here to help. Y'all know I'm not going to bring anybody on here who I don't think will actually make a difference, okay? I make sure the people who come on and talk to you all, the people who are on this platform, are going to be legitimate, professional people and organizations who can really provide some assistance. So definitely reach out for sure.
Hey, Brianna, if I could be so, I was going to say, if we don't get to all of the questions, send them to me and I'll answer them.
Absolutely. Yep, I will surely do that. So while I'm pulling these up as well, if you all need any scholarship assistance, if you all want to know how to also get through that financial piece of college, that's where we come in at SheEdits. We would love to work with you. That is all we do over here, is financial aid and scholarships. So I'm going to let Regina and the other ones stick to test prep and college prep. But when you need money for school, because that's one thing I say, every single college is going to have in common, you're going to have to pay for it. They're going to want that tuition. They're going to want that housing. They're going to want those fees, right? So no matter where you go, community college, if you take one class, right, they're all going to require some money. So we'd love to help you. Again, our next workshop is next Thursday, July 20th. I'll drop the link for that in the chat as well. You just have to go to learn.sheeditsllc.com. I will drop that link right now. We would love to have you. We would love to work with you. The whole workshop is just dedicated to how to get money for school, how to win scholarships. Again, I graduated debt-free. I was blessed with over $50,000 in grants and scholarships. Glory be to God. So I would love for you all to join that workshop. That one's on Zoom, so you'll be able to ask all your questions live. And I do stay on there till every single question is answered. So make sure to come with your questions. Seats are limited. Definitely make that investment in yourself and your family. It's literally just $25. So you can pay $25 and get all the knowledge, or don't take it and pay thousands of dollars and you won't have any idea how to win scholarships. So we would love, love, love to work with you. That again is next Thursday, July 20th. All right. But let's get to some of these questions. So I'll just ask a few for sake of time. So somebody asked, let's start with YouTube. I'm gonna go on my laptop and look at YouTube. So somebody asked, when is the best time to schedule college tours? What time of the year? Also, is it better to go earlier, like 9th or 10th grade?
You can expose them as early as 9th or 10th grade. And it's the time of the year, the best time to go is the fall and the spring. And the reason that I say that is because you want to be able to see the campus when it is robust and it's full and there's people on campus. You can go in the summertime, but you're not really going to, get really caught up into the experience because everybody's going to be gone for break. So I would, if you want to do a private college tour, that's fine. But I encourage you to go in the fall of the year, or you can go in the spring of the year. Sometimes people or college programs do like a homecoming game in conjunction with a college tour sometimes. So you get a chance to really see the college experience in its glory when you're at a football game and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, you may want to stay away from homecoming weeks. For many cases, a lot of colleges block that time off before not doing college tours. So I threw that out there as an example, but definitely the fall and the spring. Steer clear of the summer unless you want to do a private tour where there's nobody on campus.
Thank you for answering that. I'm gonna shoot a few more at you. Somebody said, how can you make sure your advisor cares and is setting you up for success? So sometimes students who go to big schools, they may have hundreds of students assigned to one guidance counselor. They may kind of feel lost in the crowd. So again, I'll read the question one more time. How can you make sure your advisor, and I'll also say guidance counselor for high school, cares and is setting you up for success?
I'm going to tell you what I did. You don't have to do what I did, but I tell you, it was something that I don't regret doing. At the beginning of the school year, when my daughter or my son had an appointment with their guidance counselor, I was there too. Lots of times, guidance counselors get a bad rap because of the fact that they have a lot of case loads that they have to deal with. So, for example, if your student is a senior, they're going to be working with seniors from September to December to make sure that they're set as far as their college application process. Oh, note to self, when your child gets ready to apply for college, please make sure that all college applications are out the door by December 1st. Do not wait. The stress reliever that goes out of that mailbox when they finish filling out their last college application is amazing. I learned that from a college prep program that my daughter was a part of. December 1st is when all applications should be in. Not to say that it's too late for you to apply, but you definitely want to get those applications in early. The other thing too is there is a May 1st is National College Decision Day. Your students should have an idea of where they want to go. And I'm going to say this because this is something that I strongly believe. College is a consumer-driven business, and you are the consumer and they want your business. Do not feel compelled to put yourself in a financial bind, sending your child to a big school that you don't think they're going to fit in. Start them off with a small school, and then they can transfer their credits to a bigger school because they'll have a chance to mature. Lots of times schools will sit there and give you all the bells and whistles. The package is beautiful the first year, but then after that, it's like people like Brianna will come into play, and you will need a Brianna in your life because those packages don't look as pretty. They're trying to lure you into the school because that's what they do. I say that as a college professional. I say that as a parent. It's a consumer-driven business. They want your business. And if the package does not align with what your budget says, that school doesn't want you. If they can't find money for you, because there's money to be found, they just don't want to give it to you. And I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm saying this to parents because I want you to know that lots of times we tend to settle, and we don't have to, especially if it's a school that's outside of your financial reach. So I hope that question was answered in the way that they were looking for.
Absolutely. And oh my gosh, these colleges have so much money. In the workshop, I talk about appealing and asking for more money. So I got through college through a lot of scholarships. My head coach, Jessica, got through college debt-free with a lot of appealing and asking and building those relationships and scouring and digging and finding out where the money was on campus. She got her bachelor's and her master's completely debt-free by finding the money. So that's one thing we definitely talk about on our workshop. And then in our full program, we dive into how to scour and dig and investigate and ask and don't take no for an answer and find that money at that school. So definitely what you're saying is facts. It's facts, as the young folks say.
That because we're afraid that if we push back too much, that
Right.
we're going to process, being aggressive or whatever. But it's very true. There's a lot of money in the universities. But I hate to bring this up before you go on to the next question. Affirmative action is going to hurt us as minorities, as women, as people of color. When the Supreme Court repealed that decision, they're not just hurting people of color, they are hurting international students who come to the United States to go to school. It really saddens me as a higher education professional that they took that away, because it's not only going to impact students who are coming from other countries and their students that are here, but it's also going to impact programs like diversity, equity, and inclusion as well. Keep that in mind when you are going to these schools and looking at them. Look at the ratio of students, what percentage is African American, what percentage is predominantly white. There's an acronym called PWI, which is a private white institution. Nothing wrong with those institutions, but you need to make sure that there's people that look like your child. That is going to definitely be the checkbox for your student. If they don't see enough students that are like you or like them, that's going to turn them off. But I'm also going to say this caveat before you go to the next question. Don't send your child to a party school, please. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Their first year, they go to that party school. I have a friend whose child went to Hampton. Her daughter turned up, and she went right on down there, packed her up, and sent her to community college. And she didn't like it, but she didn't care. I'm not sending you down to school to party. So yes, it is their journey, but if you're helping to pay or if you're writing the checks, you do have a say. Because if they're not supposed to do, bring them on back to community college. They'll get the same type of education. It'll just take them a little longer to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So, got another question for me?
Yep, two more and then we'll let you go. So another question I thought was good. Somebody asked, let me go back to it, it's on YouTube. So two FERPA questions, because I think that sparked a lot of interest for a lot of people. So somebody, it is, you have some good follow-up questions. So somebody said, the kids have to give you access to the FERPA, I was told. So can you talk about when you typically see the FERPA document? Whether or not you have a choice to sign that, or whether, like, if the student is 18, you don't even have a choice. Like, can you talk about that a little bit more?
The FERPA document is usually presented during college or the orientation when the child has been accepted to the school and they go through this new student orientation. It comes in a packet. And the FERPA document is to protect your student. It's not to hurt them. Because their rights are just as important as anything else. Because if they don't want their parent to know that they're not doing well in school, that's their right. But it is, again, as I mentioned when I brought it up, it is a conversation that you need to have with your student when it's presented. I don't think that it's a conversation that should be one-sided. I think it needs to be a joint conversation. With, like I said, with my children, I just did the financial aid piece because I was the one that was writing the checks at the time. And we had a transparent enough relationship where if my student was struggling, I knew it. I didn't have to go searching for it. I didn't have to try to stalk the professor's office hours. I just knew. But that's where it goes to building the relationships before they get there. If you have those transparent relationships while they're in high school about their struggles, about their challenges, they'll be able to easily come home and say, you know what, Mom, this school ain't for me. Or this course is not for me, or this major is not for me. It's better that they decide early to change their major than to graduate with that degree and not use it.
Love that. Okay, last question for you. Last question. And I thought this was also really good. So going back to when you were talking about tutors and college prep programs, somebody said not all parents have the money to get tutors and consultants. Let's give parents the tools to address this. So where can they get free or low cost resources for those who can't pay for a private tutor or an expensive college prep program?
Okay. So as far as the tutoring question, I would utilize the educators that your student works with every day.
Yep.
If your student is struggling with math or struggling with English, find out if the teacher has after school hours that they dedicate to working with students who are struggling, and see if you can leverage that. Because I am totally on board with what you're saying. A lot of people don't have the means to do the college prep programs. However, I will have to spin that and say that some college prep programs offer scholarships to defray the cost so that you don't have to come out of pocket as much.
Yep.
But definitely leverage the educators that they're with every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's they're getting paid to educate them, so why not use them to help them to turn the corner with where they're struggling.
Love that. And if your student is same thing, if your student is already in college, take advantage of those tutoring centers, of the writing center on campus, of the math tutoring center, of the professors. I'm telling you, as a former classroom teacher, we love to help. Like, that's what we went to school for. That's what we do day in and day out. Teachers don't make a lot of money. We're not in it for the money. We're in it because we love to help students. We want to see you succeed. The students who would take the time to come to me and ask me for help, for that additional assistance, for me to sit with them, I would be more than willing to do that on my lunch break after school, because it's like you're taking your education in your hands. And I love it because I love education. So
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
and mind you, there may be some there may be some teachers that may be hitting the exit as soon as the final bell rings.
Right, that's true.
But
it's not all of them.
But during the parent teacher conferences, that is a really great entryway for you to say, listen, you see that he's not doing well in math. Can we set up something for him to get some extra help? Because if you don't speak up, then what's going to happen is your student is going to become a part of a number of other students who are in the same position. And the parents, because parents work every day, they go to work, they come home, they don't know anything about algebra. Math is not my friend. And I'll tell you right quick, if it goes past 2 times 2 is 4, you lost me. So I would rather leverage that relationship with the educator that they have at the school. If you don't have the resources to do it, because there are a lot of tutoring services that are out there that are very expensive. But you may have somebody at your local church or somebody that's friends of a friend that's really great with math, that you could leverage that relationship. I totally agree. I mean, if you can't afford to do it, then use the educators that are there every day. And yes, I know they get burnt out, and 3:30 looks like it's far, far away. But I do know that a lot of educators, like you said, you're very passionate about what you do. I work in the tutoring center at my university. I work with students for first year. I talk to them about time management. I talk to them about soft skills, talk to them about advocating for themselves. I work with the student athletes on campus because they have a crazy schedule. So they called me in to ask me to work with them. They like me so much, they're going to keep me. So the football team is coming back in about 3 weeks. I'm going to start with them first, because between the weight room and the games and stuff like that, they got to realize that student athlete is not a fractured word. Student first, athlete second. It can't be reversed, because if you have an injury on the field, then what you gonna do? But please send me those questions, and when I will answer them and send them back to you, because I don't want anyone to feel that due to time that I don't want questions the attention that they need.
Absolutely. So I'm going to drop her contact information one more time in the chat. Her website is scholarswithapurpose.org. Again, that's scholarswithapurpose.org. I'm dropping it one more time for everybody. And let me drop this on YouTube as well. So I'm back and forth between like 3 different screens, 4 different screens. But yes, thank you so much for this. This has been incredible, amazing. I have all kind of notes. I love doing these interviews because I always learn so much. I'm always trying to just educate myself. So this has
Same.
been incredible. I'm so excited that you were on here tonight. Everybody, reach out, scholarswithapurpose.org. If you want to learn about how to graduate debt-free, win scholarships, learn how I did it, learn how our students and clients have gotten nearly $2 million in grant scholarships, financial aid. Glory be to God. Definitely come on our workshop. We have another one this coming Thursday, or not this Thursday. Well, today's Wednesday. Next Thursday, July 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Learn.SheEditsLLC.com. I will drop that link in the chat one more time. Space is limited, but if you liked what you heard here, it's going to be so powerful next week, okay? If you like what you learned here, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So we're going to be doing role reversal. So
yes, I'm glad you said that.
And she will be a guest on my platform. So whatever you need to get about the scholarship experience to prep you for the scholarship workshop that she's doing, come join us. She will definitely be sharing that information with you soon. So I talked about myself and the gifts that we have been given to be able to educate and empower everybody. So it's going to be role reversal. You're going to be doing it next time.
Yes, I'm so excited. So make sure to follow me. I'll be sending out information. So definitely follow us on all the platforms. SheEdits. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm not one of them fun dancing TikTokers, but if you follow my TikTok, you'll get a ton of education. That's what I'll guarantee. All right. It's probably not gonna be all like, trendy, but it's gonna be educational. So follow us. SheEdits. There we go. SheEdits right there. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Let us know. Hit us up. Thank you again. We're getting thank yous in the chat. People have loved this. This has just been amazing. So we appreciate your time. I hope you all have a blessed evening. In Jesus' name, I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream. Replay, you can still share it. You can still let somebody know that they can have access. I'm going to leave these interviews up, or this interview up rather. So definitely take the time to watch it again. And we'll see you all soon. Let us know if you have any questions. And again, have a blessed night in Jesus' name.
Bye.
All right, we are done streaming. Let me double check. I know, right? I'm so sorry that was so long.
No, it's good. It's good. I love the fact that there were questions.
I did too. Let me stop the recording too. Let me stop the recording. Stop the stream.